I'm reading a book. It's called, I recommend it. It's called Tiny Thunder by Sue Rice. She's a copywriter, and really good one. I know Sue a little from, we were in a mastermind together, and my wife and I went to Paris. She lives in Paris, and she's lived in France for 20 years now. And we had lunch with her and her daughter, who's a photographer, and it was lovely. And so she's written this amazing book. And one thing I love about the book is it's the simplest premise in the world. All she's teaching you in this book is how to write metaphorical stories, which is something really useful to any copywriter, and a great thing to collect and lean on whenever you need an email. But notice how she positioned the book. It's not how to write super zippy metaphorical stories. It's irresistible messaging for an overwhelmed world, right? Which is something everybody can relate to. And she spends the first 10 chapters, maybe short chapters, talking about, again, a common premise of how everybody's attention is so fractal these days and why. And she kind of goes through the history of how technology grew, and it's very well written and really enjoyable to read. And then towards the middle of the book to the end, she's just giving you all kinds of examples of different metaphorical stories. And so I want to read one that I really liked about Muhammad Ali. And again, notice how incredibly short the email. I don't know how effective the call to action was. She may have just made it up for the book, or maybe from her own client work. She tends to work with bigger companies, corporations, and things. But here's the email. One day, the legendary Muhammad Ali boarded a plane in the first class cabin. The flight attendant who was doing the final check noticed that everybody had their seatbelt buckled except for the heavyweight champion. She approached him and said, "Mr. Ali, you're going to have to buckle your seatbelt." He looked at her, smiled, and defiantly said, "Superman don't need no seatbelt." The flight attendants didn't skip a beat and retorted, "Superman don't need no plane." And then she wrote, "None of us are above the rules. Sometimes we get where we want to go. To get where we want to go, we need to draw inside the lines and buckle up our seatbelts. Be smart, play by the rules. April 15th is coming up. Let us help you get your taxes done the right way." That's it. It's a whole email, right? Just, and so again, I just wanted to share that because oftentimes we overthink, especially when we're in the client landing mindset. There's sort of this constant running dialogue of, am I doing the right thing? Am I providing what people want? And sometimes we just need to write, and not forget that we're writers first. And then we happen, the reason we get paid so well is we're good at writing great words that are good at selling. And so I'm always talking about portfolio, building up portfolio. Make sure you make time to write for the joy of writing, or to have fun and be playful with your writing. It's just critical to what we do. We have to remember that, we're specialists, right? If we were musicians, I would hope that we would spend at least an hour a day. I can't imagine any professional, like a studio session musician or a touring for hire musician, what they call hired guns. There's a great documentary about hired guns, by the way, who don't practice at least an hour a day. They seemingly couldn't be any better. They're touring with, national headlining, playing arenas. But you couldn't stop them from practicing every day and wanting to get better. And so just remember that that's what we do first and foremost, is we're writers. And very few people would dare call themselves writers or profess to be good at it. And so remember that it's a badge of honor that you should be proud of, that you'll always be earning. And that's not to put pressure on you. It's to remind you to be joyful in your writing, because honestly, that's what's going to shine through. Think about the most successful copywriters we know, And I mean like real copywriters, not guys who call themselves copywriters and are really good at marketing. We read their stuff with joy because it's exciting. There's some great examples from Lori Morgan Ferrero in here, who's also good friends with Sue. And if you guys know Lo, she's always in Copy Chief, super unassuming, loves the craft. When I came into this business, when I first got to know John Carlton back in 2008, he was such a huge Lori fan. She was very much in his inner circle, right? All the way from back then, because she cares about writing. When you get together with people like John Carlton and Gary Bencivenga and David Deutsch, and I literally had breakfast with Paris Lampropoulos this morning. You'll talk a little bit about the marketing side, but it's the writing that bonds us. And you'll notice that high-level copywriters are constantly in the pursuit of new knowledge, new understanding,